It all began quietly, early morning the sun rising over Asia, while markets in New York and London still slept. Traders sipping coffee looked up and froze. A headline appeared that shook the world. Burkina Faso signs $14 billion grain deal with India, 20 million metric tons of maize and sorghum, enough to feed nations, flowing from African fields to Indian ports. For a country long overlooked, it was history in the making. Burkina Faso, landlocked and humble, had just stepped onto the global stage. In financial centers across the world, panic flickered across trading screens. Grain prices spiked. Futures in Mumbai, Chicago, and London surged. Analysts rushed to television studios, called it a historic shift. How did a small West African nation pull this off? And why did India, already a food giant, need this deal so badly? For India, the answer lay in risk and survival. Every year, its food security danced with the monsoon. Too much rain and floods. India needed insurance, a shield against unpredictable weather. And Burkina Faso offered exactly that. For Burkina Faso, this was more than trade. It was recognition. A nation once known for gold and cotton now seen as an agricultural power on the rise. This deal didn't appear overnight. 3 years earlier, in quiet conference halls, Burkina Faso's leaders began making their case, not with slogans, but with substance. They spoke of fertile plains, of farmers ready to scale, of potential waiting beneath the dust. Indian officials listened. They understood the stakes. Dependence on too few suppliers was dangerous in a changing climate. When Burkina Faso promised consistency and partnership, India saw something rare: trust. Step by step, that trust grew. Indian envoys visited villages, silos, and farms. They asked tough questions. Could Burkina deliver, year after year? The answer was yes, but one obstacle remained. Burkina Faso had no access to the sea. For most exporters, that would be the end of the story, but for these two nations, it became a beginning. Together, they built what didn't exist: railways upgraded, new roads laid, and port facilities expanded in neighboring countries. What once seemed impossible became a symbol of creative cooperation. This wasn't just a deal. It was a blueprint for resilience. India produces hundreds of millions of tons of grain each year, but abundance can be deceptive. Storage problems waste millions of tons. By linking with Burkina Faso, a region with a different rainfall pattern, India gained climate diversity. A bad monsoon in India might still mean a good harvest in Africa. Two nations, two climates, one safety net. Analysts asked, why Burkina Faso? Why not the traditional exporters, Brazil, Ukraine, or Argentina? Because this deal wasn't just about grain, it was about respect. India came not with strings attached, but with partnership. Burkina Faso didn't want a master, it wanted a partner. And India offered exactly that. This $14 billion deal was not the beginning. It was the culmination of years of silent cooperation. Across West Africa, the reaction was electric. Neighboring leaders asked, if Burkina Faso can do it, why not us? The message was clear. With planning, infrastructure, and trust, even landlocked nations could rise as agricultural powers. Roads, silos, and ports began appearing on development maps across the continent. Burkina Faso had opened the door, and others were ready to walk through. Of course, not everyone was pleased. South American and European exporters saw a rival emerging. Some warned of a coming price war, but in truth, many economists welcomed the change, saying it would make global food systems more stable, less dependent on a handful of suppliers. Still, one question echoed inside Burkina Faso itself. If we export so much, will our people have enough to eat? The government acted carefully. A fixed share of national grain was reserved for local use, untouchable, no matter how high global prices rose. Part of the revenue would go to irrigation and food subsidies. The message was simple. No one goes hungry at home, but the deal's impact reached beyond human food. Sorghum, one of its main crops, fuels India's booming dairy and poultry sectors. Milk, eggs, and chicken depend on affordable feed. By securing long-term supplies, India also secured stability for millions of jobs and families. In this sense, the agreement wasn't just about feeding people, it was about anchoring economies. Beyond trade, India invested in transformation. Storage silos, irrigation systems, new highways and rail links. Each project created jobs, boosted industries, and strengthened the foundation of a self-reliant Burkina Faso. This was not merely a grain deal. It was nation-building disguised as commerce. Better roads meant better trade. Better ports meant new exports. And together, they built a future neither could build alone. A landlocked country in West Africa had joined the big leagues. By strategy, not size. And India had shown it wouldn't wait for others to secure its future. It would reach across oceans, shake hands, and build partnerships on its own terms. This deal carries lessons for everyone. Diversify your sources, invest in infrastructure, and build relationships based on respect, not dominance. Burkina Faso proved that trust and vision can be more powerful than geography, and India proved that leadership isn't about control. It's about cooperation. The ink on the deal has dried, but the story is just beginning. The next decade will test both nations. The Burkina Faso-India grain deal stands as a symbol of trust, strategy, and vision, a declaration that even the smallest nations can feed the world. And that in a time of uncertainty, cooperation remains humanity's greatest strength. In the end, this wasn't just about grain. It was about destiny. A story of two nations bound by courage and vision, who proved that from the heart of Africa, you can change the course of the world.